Hey everybody, how's it going? Steve here with a video that is definitely about the Switch 2, but everything around it goes way, way back, whether that's the last decade or the last millennia. Because today I want to take a look at a game that is based on the virtual pet craze from the 90s, none other than the Tamagotchi, but it pays homage to Nintendo's least loved console and one of my personal favorites, the Wii U. Before we find out how though, a word from our sponsor.
Sometimes when I'm looking in the mirror, I just want to touch my skin and see what it feels like. A lot of the time, it doesn't feel particularly good. It's rough, kind of scratchy, and that hurts my confidence a lot. But ever since I started with Geology, my face feels so smooth. Geology is a simple, effective, personalized skincare routine. You just need to fill out the 60-second quiz to get yours. It takes out all of the research and gets you only what you need. Once your box arrives, all of your products are labeled and ordered for you, so you don't have to worry about what to use and when to use it. I have ADHD, and routine is something I really struggle with. Having everything laid out for me makes it so much easier. So use our code to get 100% off your own personalized skincare trial set. Plus, you'll get a free gift and up to 50% off on add-ons. Use our code and start feeling good today. Thanks to Geology for partnering with us on today's video.
Alright, so it's time for a bit of a history lesson. Tamagotchi has been around since the 90s, and it's actually enjoyed a fairly long life and history in the video game space, particularly on Nintendo consoles. I remember Tamagotchi games coming out for the Game Boy way back in the day, but this game on the Switch 2 has some specific features and use of tech that I find really interesting. But to understand the context around it, we need to talk about the Wii U and its reveal back in 2011. Back when Satoru Iwata took the stage and unveiled the Wii U to the world for the first time, they showed kind of a concept trailer that explained the conceit of the system, ultimately not all that well, to its user base. And one of the things that they showed off was a demo of someone throwing shuriken or ninja stars into bamboo posts. And my brain immediately lit up when I saw this way back then 14 years ago, thinking that this was a nod to Shinobi, because if you've ever played the original arcade Shinobi or the Sega Master System version, the bonus game is quite literally exactly that. You have a stack of ninja stars in your hand and you're flicking them out at ninjas that are running out in front of you. But ultimately, that didn't make a ton of sense for Nintendo to show off a third-party franchise as part of like a tech demo trailer for the Wii U when every other thing in it was first-party. What I didn't know at the time was that this was a demo for what would become the Murasame Castle minigame in Nintendo Land. And again, if you're unfamiliar, Nintendo Land is to the Wii U what Welcome Tour is to the Switch 2. It was a game that was paid that you basically bought and showed off the features of the system. Now, of course, Nintendo did a much better job with Nintendo Land than they did with Welcome Tour. I like Welcome Tour as somebody who's really into tech and hardware, but there's no argument to be made whether Nintendo Land or Welcome Tour is the better game. Welcome Tour is barely a game, where Nintendo Land is actually a proper game. So I think that immediately puts it over Switch 2's offering, but it was also bundled with the deluxe version of the Wii U. And that mini game evolved from just throwing stuff at bamboo poles to actually throwing ninja stars at papercraft enemies. Everything had this cute origami aesthetic to it. And it is to this day my favorite game in that package. Something was really cool about being able to flick ninja stars off of the Wii U gamepad and onto the TV screen at enemies. In fact, if you go back and you watch the Wii U reveal trailer, that's the first moment that really got a reaction out of people watching it. People started to cheer when they saw that action happening on screen. So I don't think I was alone in that feeling that this was kind of a cool use of the hardware. And wouldn't you know it, of all games in the Switch 2 launch lineup, it is Tamagotchi Plaza, a game that is absolutely designed for children that pays homage to this minigame in its own way. It's a bit of a roundabout way to unlock it. You have to basically play every other minigame, and these are made for small children. They're not exactly the most engaging things in the world. You can make shirts or design glasses, which you can do hilariously wrong and still pass. You can engage in the most respectful rap battle ever. among a whole bunch of other chores. But basically what you have to do is you go around the plaza and play every single mini game, whether you like them or not. And then once you've passed all of those, a secret shop will open right here in this alley. If you head down this alley, I mean, it becomes pretty obvious there are ninja stars literally embedded in the wall before that, but then you are able to enter the hidden shop, which only exists on Switch 2. This is not available on other platforms, and the reason why will make sense. Tamagotchi Plaza isn't anything spectacular or anything I think you should run out and go buy, but this is one of the coolest uses of the Joy-Con 2 hardware, even including Nintendo's own first-party efforts, because rather than using it as a mouse or using the accelerometer in an interesting way, this actually uses the mouse sensor. This little guy right here on the Joy-Con 2 is the key to making this work. And if you've played Welcome Tour like I have, you'll know that rather than a laser like most mice use, this is actually a tiny camera. And what that means is that you can do a bit more with it than you could do with a traditional mouse sensor. Nintendo's reasoning is that this helps you move it on different surfaces like the leg of your pants or other things that aren't traditionally friendly to laser-based mice. But what this means in this instance is that it is able to detect whether it is covering or not and what direction things on it are moving in. So Bandai uses this in a very interesting way. When you enter this shop, you need to hold a Joy-Con essentially upside down with the mouse sensor facing up towards the ceiling. And then once you have it in that position, you'll actually use the gyro to move and aim your shuriken around the screen. And to throw them, you quite simply put your hand on top and slide it across the mouse sensor, mimicking the action of throwing a ninja star out. It's so cool that they were able to make this work, and it's one of those things that I'm kind of surprised Nintendo didn't beat them to the punch on. This feels like something that you would show off the same way they showed off flicking ninja stars across the Wii U gamepad towards the TV screen. This is something where you could have seen the potential of this, and I'm surprised that it took a Tamagotchi game made for little kids of all things to show us the coolest use of the Joy-Con 2 technology so far. I really like this minigame. It is ostensibly designed for small children, but you can tell they knew that adults like us might want to check this out because as you play, those targets get so small that I really don't trust that a small child is going to be able to do these without getting really frustrated. I almost get the sense that they designed this to be more difficult so that kids who are playing it would hand it off to their parent and ask for their help, and the parent would then be convinced of how cool this is by having to play that minigame, because of all the things you can do in Tamagotchi Plaza, this is the only one that I keep coming back to, the one that I want to play over and over again, because it's just such a rad use of the Joy-Con technology. But that's it. That is just a small homage to a forgotten console in a game made for children on the Switch 2, 14 years after this concept debuted. I just thought this was so cool, I had to share it with y'all. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Again, I don't recommend you buy this because it's not worth buying for just this one minigame, but it is a really cool showcase of what the Joy-Con 2 are capable of nonetheless. Let me know if you think this is cool or if I've just blown it way out of proportion, typical YouTube style. But thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us here at GVG, you can certainly hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you'd like to get further involved, you can head over to patreon.com/gvgaming to find out how. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.